Hello and welcome to the third session of Legacy Life Among the Ruins with a slight fantasy reskin, which is more of a cut and paste reskin for terminology. This is a PbtA game of a generational like post-apocalyptic survival community building. Our players have both a family that they're running and also a character from within that family. And today we're going to see some of the elements of the game about it moving forward in time, called essentially the age turns, which we're going to work through that mechanic. If you're watching this, you probably already know this, but this is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, which is an online gaming community. If you're curious about that, you can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. Also, if you do like AP videos, then you can subscribe to my channel. And also, you may have to search for it, but right now we have a new process of converting these videos into podcast format. So we're getting that, and we're going through our big backlog of all of the Gauntlet videos, so that if you're not a fan of sitting and watching videos, but you'd like to listen to the games, we're going to have that available for you. So this is kind of exciting, actually, because this has been an often requested thing. It's certainly, for me, easier. I have a hard time sitting and watching, and not being able to work on something else. But, I can listen to them. So we're going to come here to the age turns. I'm going to grab my copy of the book because the process is a little detailed. And we're going to go through that. Ages, turning of. I love indexes. So let me ask you, we're at the stage where we're going to move the clock forward, and that is going to involve rolling with your mood. It's going to involve updating the map. You can make changes to your doctrines, lifestyles, assets as desired to your thing. You can talk about a new custom or a new festival that you've developed. You can add a threat, opportunity, or faction to the map. And then you get to decide whether you want to keep your old character or move forward. So any thoughts about how far we want to go? Is this a year down the line? Is it 5 years, 10 years? Is it a generation? Anyone have strong feelings about that? Patrick, how about you?
Strong feelings about finding my mute button.
Would you like to go forward like far enough that we have to make new characters, or would you like far enough that you can still have the option to keep your characters?
I think option to keep characters.
Okay. So maybe
make it more than a year or two, so people feel free to bring in new people. But
okay. So we've got a year or two to like 20 years. Let's hit that. That is sort of the range here. Sherry, you have a strong feeling?
Probably more in the 2 years to 10 years thing. Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. Robert, now we've got 2 to 10 years. Do you want to narrow that any further?
No, I mean, I was thinking more it's like closer to 10 than 2, but
okay, so we're in the, let's say, 5 to 10 year range. Ari, within the 5 to 10 year range, can you give me a number between 5 and 10?
Can we do like 5 1/4 and 9 1/2? No,
Okay.
I'm kidding. That I was fine with the last one.
So would you rather towards 5 or towards 10?
Honestly, either of those are fine. It's not a long time.
Okay, we're going to split the difference. It has been 8 years. Okay, rounding up rather than truncating. So that's how we're going to go with this. So we're going to go through in turn, and we're going to have each player roll with their mood. We're going to check in with that. And let me pull the roller link up and drop it in the chat here, just in case. Again, always feel free to roll normal dice if you want to. So let's start. We're going to move our way across the character sheet here. So we're going to go Sherry, Ari, Patrick, and Robert on this. So Sherry, what is your mood? And your mood is determined by your surpluses subtracted by your needs.
Yep, so I'm at 0.
You're at straight 0. So what you're going to do is go ahead and roll with a 0.
Okay, so 2d6. And I got 2. 2 low. 2.
You got a 2.
Yes.
So you need to choose 2 trials for your character, for your family. Now, if you have the book near you, it's on page 74.
I will look.
Okay. I will give you a bit to have your camera blocked completely by the cat.
Very sorry. She's
I'll let you take a look at those while we go through this.
okay.
Ari, what is your mood?
My mood is -1.
Okay. Then let us have you go ahead and roll with a -1.
Okay. Need to move this out of the way. I'm going to go with these gray dice over here.
Okay.
Roll. So it's a 7 total.
That is a 7 total. That is good. You get to choose 1 trial and 1 fortune, and you get to gain 1 magic for your character.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And do you have access to the sheets for that?
I've got the book. I'm
Okay.
looking at it. Yep.
All right. Awesome. Then let's come to Patrick. Patrick, what is your mood?
My mood is a 0.
Okay. It didn't save Sherry, so let's see.
Thanks for the encouragement, buddy. Ha, that's a 9.
That is a 9. So you're also going to choose 1 trial and 1 fortune, and you're going to gain 1 magic.
Magic. All right, cool.
And then, Robert, what is your mood?
Yeah, I'm at -1.
Okay, let's have you roll.
That is a 9.
9. So again, 1 trial, 1 fortune, gain 1 magic. Sherry, you have thoughts on what trials you'd like?
Yes. Sorry about that. So I think my family fell apart into feuding factions. That makes sense because it brought back that god.
Mm-hmm.
And the eventual victors are stronger and more unified, but lacking refinement. So I'd take +1 on grasp and surplus leadership, but gain need prestige again.
Okay.
So that's one of them. And then I think also let's see here, something monstrous from out of the wasteland took a particular dislike to the family and has been hounding them ever since. Because these things seek the divine, having this god totem, which is sort of working the way we wanted it to. We wanted to have control over where they would go, but this is a thing that we haven't been able to strike back at. And so essentially it's following us and harrying our people. So we say some secret we've learned about it, gain 2 tech from scavenge parts from it, but take a disadvantage on family moves against it.
So I've updated your sheet for that, so that's all updated to those.
Oh, thank you.
And so let's start with that first part. This battle between the two about the bringing back of this god.
Mhm.
What was who won on that?
the ones who wanted to sort of keep the god within our group. And it's a sort of mixed set of people who want a god to essentially to be theirs, to appeal to, and that sort of thing. But more correctly, it's mostly the most vocal group is the one who wants a god because they know it will attract these great ancients.
Okay.
Okay.
And then what is this thing that has been hounding your family? What did you learn about it?
Okay, so what we know is that it isn't like it's big and monstrous, but it changes itself. It has like this sort of ultra camouflage that it can do. It's
predator kaiju?
Yeah, exactly, predator kaiju. And so it has a thing of it can lay in wait, and we can like find it and track it, and then before we find it, we're in like right there by it. So it's pretty good at that. And though we've gotten better at dealing with it, it's amazing how. And one of the things is it can make itself seem very flat, like part of the terrain. So it literally can hide more effectively in the plains than it can in a forest, if that makes any sense.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So, so that's the thing that we know about it.
Okay. I like that. We'll come back to you and talk about
The tech and
the broad story of the age. We've kind of got that. We'll come back and see if there's any changes you want to make to the doctrine, lifestyle, or assets. I'll ask you about a custom or a festival, and we'll have you add a threat, opportunity, or faction to the map.
Okay.
But let's move on. Ari, you get a trial and a fortune. Let's start with trial.
Okay, so for trial, I'm going to go with a plague ravaged your family, and no other families could help. Afterwards, they promised aid in the future. Gain 3 treaty split between any families you wish, but take need medicine. I'm thinking the plague was caused by the organs that I took back from that creature, the bird.
Oh, yeah.
And that spread some sort of, I don't know, some sort of disease that the creature had from the power that was controlling it.
Do you think it was a deadly disease or a transformational disease or something else?
I think transformative.
Okay.
Maybe we can play with that. Maybe that binds us in some way, those who are affected, to the thing in the box. Or was it a box or a case that remember that illuminated?
Oh, the God thing that.
God. Yeah. Maybe there's something there that we could play with in the fiction.
Like they ran off to try and follow that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll gain 3 treaties split amongst the others. I don't know if you just want to take one on each or you want to spread it.
One on each. Sounds
okay.
Good. Yeah.
All right. And then what do you want for your fortune?
For fortune, I'm going to go with a series of messy public disagreements caused many family members to leave, but it was all according to plan. From their new homes, your exiles send you regular reports on their host activities. Gain 1 slight and surplus spies. Gain 1 slight and surplus spies, but take need recruits.
Okay. So to outsiders, what did the disagreement seem to be based on?
So back on the map, the founders of Dagon and Zyron have their scions are sort of the leading members of that faction in the family. And there was sort of like a butting of heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, let me just look at the map. So the scion of Zyron is the one that came out on top. And the ones that were trying to communicate with the outer beings kind of fell out a bit.
That sounds good.
Exiles.
That makes sense. That fits in. We'll come back and talk to you about the other elements here after we go all the way around. I'm going to put the map link also in the document there, or rather in the chat. Patrick, let us come to you. Let us know you've got a trial and a fortune. What do you want for your trial?
So for the trial, I think I'm going to go with starvation and poverty forced your family to try raiding and thieving, and it pissed people off. Gain 3 surplus is your choice, but give 2 treaty to 2 other families.
Oof. So who did you raid and how did you raid?
So the sort of like archetype from history that I'm going for here is like historical distrust of like gypsies or Romney or traveling people, that sort of thing. And I just spent this whole passage trying to get the Spears to like me, so it's probably the Keepers of the Ember and the Crows that I give 2 treaty to.
We get 2 each. Is that right?
Yes.
That's how I'm reading that?
That is.
Okay.
Yep.
Ouch. I'll take it.
And what do you think you're going to take for your surpluses?
So for my
Now,
surplus,
before you make that decision,
ruh-roh.
and I actually think I may have you hold off on that decision, because don't forget that surpluses are what are used to do the great works. That we have these great works in the book. They have several great works, essentially a new capital, what they call a great network, which would be some kind of like system of communication between places, a revolution, total war, an age of discovery, an energy revolution, which would be like a magical revolution. And I believe there's some in the Engine of Life book as well. And those work by having you mark and invest 5 surpluses. Others can invest in that, and then when it comes to bear, you can have that wonder be created.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I'll flip through those and see
Okay.
if one pops out at me.
Yeah, because it is a really interesting mechanic, and we didn't get a chance to see that last time. I want to see if we can push on that. What do you want for your fortune?
So for my fortune, I'm going to go with your family found a hidden vault still intact from the world before. Say what its true treasure was and gain 2 tech from initial scavenging. However, decades of delving have left you isolated, so gain need trade.
Okay, and that'll be 2 magic then.
Yes, 2 magic. And I think what that is.
What kind of vault?
I think what it is that Kanta and some people that they took with them have been like just gone for this 8 years, and I think they were seeking out, following rumors of the Psychochromazian cauldron under the Tower of Xiron.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they actually found it. It's it's still there and much larger mechanisms than we could just carry out the whole thing, but that 2 tech is like finding cool shit from it. Magic.
The various relics and artifacts and things there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good to me. I like that, and we'll come back and talk to you about the other part of that later. Robert, tell me, you have a trial and a fortune. What is it you want for your trial?
So on these trials and fortunes, if it says to gain a surplus or a need that we already have, can we still take that, or what does that do?
You can choose a different one instead.
Okay.
Or if it gives you a surplus for something that you have a need for, they'll just cancel out, of course.
Yeah, because like I was looking at one that says take need recruits, but I already have need recruits.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Yeah, I was going to say your family saved the homeland from some great threat, whether invading armies or natural disaster, but at great cost to themselves. And since my family doesn't really have much of a homeland
Mhm.
necessarily, I was going to say that it's probably I think the majority of us are in the kingdom of the paupers, because I think where there's commerce, there's usually a lot of probably crime and corruption and all sorts of other things going on.
Mhm.
And I think we saved that place from, I think there was just a lot of corruption, and somebody was probably trying to take over and just get control over all of the commerce, because then they would have all the power.
You put down the pretender king of the paupers?
Yeah, I think that's basically what we did, and I think the great cost to ourselves is it didn't necessarily look like that. Like, the people probably thought that we killed this guy or took out this, maybe even the whole family
Mhm.
of people who were, they were on their side. Like, we took them out. Nobody knows that they were like this bad family trying to take over. So we kind of look like the bad guys, and we were sort of ostracized for that.
Okay. So was that maybe like need prestige?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. And you'll gain +1 grasp. And surplus leadership, which you already had, right?
Yeah.
So I'll let you figure out what you want to do for that. What about for your fortune?
For my fortune, so I think going off of that trial, because we were sort of ostracized from the kingdom of the paupers for killing this family that everybody maybe wanted to be in charge, I think your family builds a place of safety and commerce, creating a new haven in this kind. Gain +1 reach and surplus peace, but take need obligation.
Okay.
So I think we got basically kicked out of the kingdom of paupers. And we're like, okay, well, we'll go start our own place.
With blackjack and hookers?
With a lack of blackjack and a lack of hookers. That's for those people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Our place is just on the straight and narrow. If you want to come and do, good, solid commerce without breaking the law and without, doing anything corrupt, then come to our place.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So you gain another reach. I believe that +3 is the top on that. Oh yeah. Well, you got reach and grasp, so that's good. And then you can mark in those surpluses and needs. Sherry, let me come back to you.
Okay, sorry, carefully negotiating. I discovered what the cat is so crazy about. The red lights on the bottom of the mouse. She wants to play with them like a laser thing. So whatever, that's why she's interfering with everything I do.
Okay.
So anyway, now that I've parsed what it is she wants, it will help me not want to win, but at least I know.
Do you want to make any changes to your doctrine, your lifestyle, or your assets?
What a fine question. You said my assets.
Yes, your assets, like how do you fight, how are you defended, how do you travel, useful expertise.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
This is page 122, 123 from the book.
Right, just finding it on the sheet. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, that's okay.
See what I've got. I don't think so. I don't think there's been enough time for those things to change, and those are super, super key to their identity. So those things are probably, they may change in the future, but haven't yet.
Tell us about either a new custom or a new festival that enters into your family over these last few years.
So I think there's a thing of that we have this God now, So we do have a festival, and it's really a, I don't know how to describe it. We essentially we'll have to choose a place on the map, but essentially our family goes to this place. They essentially host a pilgrimage, like essentially the destination of a pilgrimage for a period of time. And they essentially, it's when you get there, we try to feed people and stuff like that. And then people can come and see the God in the phylactery. And if that makes any sense, because we have to share it. So that's how we know we can do it.
I like that. What you also get to do is you can add a new threat, a new opportunity, or a new faction to the map.
Okay. Let's hold on a second. I really am struggling with her. She loves this mouse so much. Let's see here. Well, now what's going on in the Sky Piercer?
The Sky Piercer, and I need to actually pull up the sheet that Robert sent us with the info on it, because it's been a bit. Let me pull that up. No, that's not it. Find that. Here is the Google Doc with that. I'm going to drop the link into the chat for everyone. That way we can have 8, 9, 10 windows open.
All right, that sounds perfect.
Okay. The Sky Piercer is a public building destroyed by the riots, a very tall tower once maintained by a powerful wizard sorcerer who intended to protect the nearby people of the fall. As events worsened, attacks and riots caused the tower to crack in half and fall. The tower was once so tall that it rose above the clouds.
Okay, good. Then I think that's where we would host the pilgrimage, if that makes any sense. And one of the things is because of the way that the tower has broken, we actually put the phylactery in the tower on one of the upper floors, and the light from it goes up into the sky, so it's visible for the pilgrimage. So that's part of it. Is it's like we light that up. Jesus.
All right, so you can add that. You'll add that to the map, do a little halo or whatever onto it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the opportunity. I can think of something else, but I was
you think about that.
On my pilgrimage, so my brain was there.
Yeah. So think about that. If you want to do something else, you can do it. And the last question I have for you is, do you want to keep your character?
Yeah, I think so. I think she needs to be there to deal with all the weirdness that has come from her choice.
Let's come to Ari.
Yeah, sorry, Lowell. I was doing a little bookkeeping from all.
Oh, that's okay.
So we're looking at which part now?
So we're going to look at after this, we're going to have you choose, do you want to make any changes to your doctrine, lifestyle, assets, or tradition?
Doctrine, lifestyle, assets, or tradition? No, I think we're good.
Okay. Then tell us about a new custom or festival that your family has come up with.
I think a new festival makes sense after the Scions of Dagon left, following their disagreements. There is this celebration of the separation of the families from these beings from beyond. that we no longer communicate with them and we're more independent now. At least that's what they believe. So they celebrate that. Not all family members. I think the exiles are still obviously connected, but the part that's sort of like the nucleus of the family is celebrating that.
And so how does that look?
Think that was that they wore these ceremonial robes when they performed the rituals to connect with the beings from beyond. I think that what they do is now they have the same colored cloths, and they make this big pile, and they light a bonfire to burn these fabrics. And over time, it's become less of like, the clothing, but just like a small strip of cloth each person kind of wraps and throws in the fire, and swears off their connection to beings that influence our fates.
Mute, take a drink. Yeah. I like that. I like that very much. Do you want to add so you don't want to, so you need to add a new threat, opportunity, or faction to the map?
Following from what I just said?
Or something new. It doesn't necessarily have to follow from that. This is a whole new set of possibilities.
I kind of like I like the idea that this ceremony is performed at the mouth of ash.
Okay.
And that there is this new part of the family that performs this ceremony where everyone kind of has a pilgrimage to the mouth of ash and brings this fabric with them that once bound them to the outer dark, and they toss it to the mouth of ash.
Yeah, they're feeding a sacrifice to this thing that is a looming threat.
Yes.
That sounds great to me.
I'll come up with a name. I guess I'll come up with a name for this group, and I'll put it over there.
Okay. Sounds good. And yeah, then you'll adjust that. Do you want to keep your character, or do you want to change?
I want to keep the character.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Patrick, let's come to you. We kind of know what has happened this 8 years. Some of your people went off. Your family did these raids and thieving from other places and got other factions angry at you. So tell me, do you want to make any changes to your doctrine, lifestyle, assets, or traditions?
Yes, a little bit there.
Okay.
But first, I was looking through the wonders, and I think as a perfect follow-up for Ari's move to like pull his people away from influences outside and strange beings that we can't really converse easily with, I'm going to build a house for a god.
Okay.
It's called the Airy, and I think the nest at Humath that we cleared out last time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was like I've studied legends and rituals from before, and what made that so bad and was causing the big problem there was that this was a false god that had taken up a residence there, but it is the sort of perfect home and resident place for it. So I want to try and build that into a place where a real god will come down and lead us.
And so for that particular wonder, what are the surpluses that it asks for?
Here we go. So 4 surpluses. First one, either luxury or trade. Second one, defenses or safety. Third one, artisans or prestige. Fourth one, rare materials or progress. And then step 5 is perform a summoning rite in a place of solace and beauty.
I like it. And when we come around to the family moves, which we'll start with, we'll check in and we'll see how you're progressing with that, and we'll talk about how that wonder process works in the mechanics of the game.
Cool. So family
changes.
Yeah,
you can make some changes.
I am. I'm gonna keep the doctrine the same for the moment. Keep with the masked Sybarites. But lifestyle, I think with the sort of like turning public sentiment and the stories that all of the silver tongues are liars and thieves and they'll steal your children and chickens away in the night, sort of thing. Kanta hasn't been around to work against these sort of rumors and prejudices. So I think we're moving from dispersed, being everywhere, to nomadic. They're traveling in bands and caravans. A lot of them have come together into like performing troupes, either musical or like plays and storytelling. But they're sort of removed from society in their own little groups that travel around.
Awesome. I like that very much.
And then what was the other one? Traditions.
So yeah, keeping that the same.
I think so, with the caveat that the style, the like silks and alabaster masks, where I'd said that everybody had those masks, but the like weird psychically stitched silks were sort of just for the storytellers. I think with the exploration of the cauldron and finding stuff there, now those silks are like fresh and brand new and not just patched up relics from the past, and they're sort of spread throughout the society more.
I like that. Like that very much. All right. A new custom or a new festival?
I think a festival. Looking through here at the Engine of Life book. So how did the festival evolve? I think it came from that successful condor kaiju hunt with the spears.
Okay.
Like, we're so happy about this wonderful collaboration that actually went off well that we want to really like hype it up and memorialize it so that people forget about that hunt that came before it, where I don't know, there's some unfortunate things happened, some family ran away, who can remember details?
Yes, absolutely. Time heals all wounds.
Yeah. What kind of festival? Pick a vendor personality. So yeah, it's that condor hunt. Its mood is intended to be this like triumphant cooperation, like our two families here came together and overcame something that was mythic and larger than anybody could possibly hope to go against. Was achieved or overcome or endured. Symbol or rite used to represent or remind people of the events. So I think it's like a giant multi-person puppetry sort of thing, parade that goes through a town or a village or whatever. And so it's this big, like, it takes 5 or 6 people to operate these big paper mache sort of puppets of like the giant condor and the other mutated birds that were around it, and like the storm and everything. And of course, people representing the great heroes from our families that went up there and
Does Vaunt, the quick character, get a puppet?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
He's very important.
Awesome.
And should the festival be held at a certain place or time? So I think like whatever season we were in, who knows what the seasons in this place are like, but whatever season we were in when we went on the hunt, it's not like it's a particular day that's the festival. It's once you enter that season, it's the first time there's a big like day-long thunder, lightning, washing out everything sort of storm. It's that storm that was around the condor. So the world tells us when it's time for the festival, the storm comes through and sort of wipes everything out for a day. And then the next day when the sun comes out and everything's sort of like rebuilding and drying is when the festival's put together. And we have this big like ritual puppet condor hunt.
I like it. And then you may add a threat, opportunity, or faction to the map.
Oh, neat. And people can get surplus by following the festival. You go. But my family, where'd it go? There we go. Scroll, 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 scroll. Oh, here we go. This is so with my people becoming more of the like entertainer archetype, and we've got this whole festival that's set up. I think what we find out there is it's one of my things off the playbook setup, but
Okay.
the remains of those who reveled as the world ended.
Okay. What does that mean?
I think it's like a Mask of the Red Death sort of castle, like some stronghold, luxury, not entirely fallen castle that people found to just hoard all of their food and drugs and drink and every sort of pleasure and just ride through the end of the world until we all die or come out the other end. Who cares? We're having a party the whole time. And I think they all died in the process.
I like that.
Yeah,
I don't like that, but I like the idea of it.
I think somehow the people are all gone, but something about the fall just like froze this party in place. So all of the like food and drink and excess are still out on the tables. All of the decorations are still up on walls, but there's just no sign of any of the people.
Awesome. I like that. All right. And you can adjust the map as you need to on those. Robert, let's come to you. Are we making any changes to the doctrine, lifestyle, assets, or traditions of your lawgivers?
Yeah, so I think they become settled now that they've been kind of kicked out of the place where they were mostly at, but they were kind of all over the place. I think when the majority of them were kicked out, they sort of called upon the entire family to come with them to settle in some new city, which kind of goes along with the thing I picked of a new place of commerce, the fortune I picked. So yeah, I think they've kind of called in the entire family to come settle this place with them.
So you'll want to put a new location then on the map in a bit,
Yes.
where you think you want to be. Just generally, do you think you want to be in the northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast, central on any of those?
I think it would be somewhere along the river.
Oh, okay.
Since it is a place of commerce, I think that would make sense for commerce reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense. Any other changes there?
Let's see. Traditions, I think, are good. Oh, actually, traditions. What was it? The governance. Yeah, I think the governance is also changing. Instead of being sort of, people who hide in the shadows and sort of are more vigilante, they have come up with complex legal codes overseen by judges. So now that they're forming their own place, they're really cracking down on like, these are the laws. They're set in stone. They're written down. We follow them.
I like that. Establishing some tribunals, getting that set up. Star chambers. Yeah. What is a custom or a festival that develops in these last few years?
So I think a festival is probably their like celebrating the founding of their new homeland.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think the whole idea, they've never really had a place to call their own. So now that they do, and the circumstances of it being that they've driven out some evil corruption, and they were punished for it. So that it's celebratory.
So it's a kind of a martyrdom kind of thing in some ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. And what does that look like?
What does that look like? I think it's an overall like citywide celebration in this new place that they inhabit. I think there are probably like parades throughout. It's a way for them to show kind of their might. They don't openly show it a lot, so it's almost like a military parade style thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're probably becoming a bit authoritarian.
Okay.
Now that they're in charge of their own city, so it's a celebration sort of along those lines. And
I like that very much.
The celebration even has a name. They call it the inevitability of rust.
Ooh. Okay. Awesome. And do you want to add a threat, opportunity, or faction to the map?
Yes. I was thinking about adding some sort of large ship in the body of water, sort of on the horizon, heading toward us.
Oh, is that a threat?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a threat. It could be an opportunity. I think most of us would probably take that as a threat.
Okay.
Because we don't know who it is.
They're coming from the lands of the East.
There's also the soldiers of Cantus still control that port.
Yeah. Interesting. I like that. That gives us that. Let me ask you, do you want to keep your character?
I'm going to keep my character, but I'm going to change his playbook to the Sentinel.
Okay.
Because I think he probably led a lot of the, not necessarily rebellion, but the corruption fixing in the Kingdom of Paupers, and now he's in this new place. He kind of has changed his role to being more of, I know how to prevent this from happening again. So he's more of a sentinel figure within the community.
Awesome. I like that very much. So that gives us a bunch of stuff to work with, a bunch of stuff to play with. 8 years have passed. Time has passed. Sherry has a question. You're muted.
Sorry. I didn't get a chance to put a threat or opportunity on the map.
Oh, okay.
All I did was do my pilgrimage. I apologize.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I just want to say that under that storm, some people have reported seeing a tower that seems to have shown up there.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Is it a nameless tower, or do we have a name?
No one has gone there. They just, sometimes the storms move in a way that you can see in, and they're uncertain where in the storm it is because people report seeing it from different angles.
Okay. That seems perfect. I'll put a bunch of question marks underneath it. Badly.
Okay.
Speaking of towers, did the Tower of Zion just turn magenta at the top of it? Looks cool. I like it.
Yeah,
a little bit. I took the Tower of Zion as the like castle that they hold up in. So that very top floor is
cool.
The unending party, the immutable seduction there.
Cool.
So one of the things that Patrick mentioned is that with these new festivals, you can engage with them as a family move. The book says find a surplus and names it as if it was a move. It's not a move listed in any of the books or anything like that. But I think we can play with that. Basically, that if you take up a festival, either your own or somebody else's, we can talk about, as a family move, how you're using that to gain a particular surplus. So that is on the table. Let's start with let's look and let's come around and check in with the families and see if there are family moves that want to be done. There are things that need to be assessed. So we're gonna move in this same order. Don't forget that you have treaty on other people.
And real quick, well, for characters, do we get a new role and therefore a new move or stat, right?
Yeah, I think you. Let me check on that. What it says. Yes. Then they trigger a roll move of their choice, and when you'll checkbox another roll. That'll give you a roll move, and it will also give you an advance. So treaty, just to remind everybody, you spend treaty on somebody and you get +2 on a move that targets them. You can take a surplus from them. You can get them to back you up, fall indecision, or protect something important. And they can resist by spending a treaty on you or holding together if they have none. So there is kind of a resource game there. Tell me, Sherry, what is crucial, vital, happening right now to the Spears of Antaeus?
Well, I mean, one of the things about the spears is they are kind of mono-focused. So I think that the most important thing is this sort of manta dragon that they are trying to track down, that is dogging them. It's super smart. It's taking its time and it's playing with them. Is that an okay answer?
Yeah. So do you think that's something that you're doing? Is it a question of you holding together against it? Is it a question of you trying to use force against it? What do you think that is?
It's probably right now holding against it as we try to figure out how we can do it. All of our standard methods have not yielded success.
Okay. So this is a thing they have disadvantage on. Would you ask somebody to lend you aid on that?
What does that do? Just take out the disadvantage?
Yeah. Well, they would. Here's what it would be: is you would spend a treaty to essentially request their help.
Okay.
And then if they throw their weight behind you, they roll how much treaty they have with you.
Okay.
On a hit, they give you fleeting advantage, but on a 7 to 9, they are exposed to any danger, retribution, or unforeseen consequence.
Okay. I think that in this we might go to the keepers because they pay attention to the ultra weird, and we don't think this is a thing of the past. Otherwise, we would go to the Silver Tongues. But maybe we have 2 treaty on the keepers, so we would ask them to assist us, and they have 2 on us.
So you would spend 1 of your treaty.
Okay.
Keepers, would you agree to assist? They come to you.
Yeah. What is the in like the short little bit? What are you asking?
Essentially, we want to. Is this to hold Lowell, or is this to gain an advantage against it at some point?
So you're trying to hold. You said you were trying to hold together. This is about
Right.
You trying to resist its effects in this age.
Right. So it's to hold. Like we need something that will ward it, so that like when we do the pilgrimage, it's not assailed by this thing.
Okay. Yeah, we would agree.
All right.
By the way, I've got 1 more treaty on you because from this last age.
Okay.
1 on everyone and 2 on Patrick.
So let's have you go ahead and roll with the treaty that you have on the Skinners. Ari?
Oh, I thought Sherry was rolling. My bad.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, you roll your treaty on the Skinners
Okay.
to assist them.
And
This is mostly to determine whether if there's blowback, what you might suffer.
okay. I've got 3, so
Yeah.
4 plus 3.
This would be great.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total.
9. Okay. So if there is blowback, you may suffer some consequences. So you will roll standard roll, Spears of Antaeus. You'll roll with your mood.
I get a 7. I'm sorry. The cat keeps managing to mute things.
Okay. So you have 3 choices then. You lose people to harm and or desertion, gain need recruits. Another family or faction came through to help you, give them another treaty on you. Where the danger hasn't passed so much as shifted into something different and more manageable, say what that is.
Let's see here. I think that the danger hasn't passed. But the thing that the keepers came up with is to make the land around the silver piercer thing not good for it, and so like it can't camouflage. And so essentially we ended up making like the whole area around there, we put we put up like poles and stakes and painted them all different colors and put like patterns that you could see when you looked from it from a certain direction so that you could see if something had changed. And so it made it very antithetical to its camouflage method, so it doesn't approach. So that's what we ended up doing. So it doesn't come to the pilgrimage site during that time. How is that?
Yeah, that's perfect. So that the sort of art illusions, like when you step, it looks like
Exactly.
just a series of things, but when you step the other way, you get a picture. Okay. I like that. We in this age, we see your family working carefully to protect themselves. Patrick, let's come to you. What is it that the Silver Tongues are working on?
Sorry, I was looking at moves. I think they're caught up and interested in the area right now, and
Okay.
making that. We should probably name it something else. That's going to get confusing.
The nest. Okay.
Yeah, the nest. And I took one of those surpluses to erase my need for artisans.
Okay.
And I think that ties into like the cauldron and the silks. All of our fine artisans are taking up in that new craft of manipulating that fabric. So I need to find some more.
So, do you think that is uncover secrets?
Can that one get you surpluses?
That's the way you can ask for surpluses about how you would get them. Or you can tell me how doing this festival gains you that surplus.
Interesting. I'll go with uncover secrets for the moment.
Okay.
I want to think a little bit more about how I want to bring in the festival.
Sure. So what you do is you gather your family specialists together. The elders meet, masked figures robed with those polychromatic robes. Do you imagine they meet in caves, in tents, outdoors?
So we're in the traveling caravans now. So I think it's, you know, in an outdoor field where like the caravans of several of the most important sort of families come together, and then yeah, they work together to build this like massive pavilion between them, and then come together in story sharing and counsel and listening to lots of old songs to pick out new prophecies from the lyrics and shit like that.
Awesome. So how much of your secrets do you want to spend?
I'll spend both.
Okay.
There's always more secrets, right?
Yeah. So roll with a +2.
Ugh, 6 + 2 is 8.
8. So this is great. There's no cost on the 7 and 9. You just don't get the big benefit of the 10 plus. So I think that you know that there are a lot of artisans and an artistic tradition of metalworking and things, and some other things that has grown up weirdly enough within the mines of Melak. Like they have a lot of artisans that they've captured and people that they've got there. So there's a trapped population of potential artisans that you could bring into your fold. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that's interesting. I like it.
Let's come to our keepers. What are the keepers engaged with? What are they doing? What are they looking into?
Before I proceed, just want
Yes.
to clarify that what was the name of that condor creature? Was that Rapties?
Let me look here.
Remember?
That is a cool name, but it was actually named Condor.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
it was Condor spelled out.
Okay, so all right.
Condor.
And the god being, did that have a name? Or did we haven't not yet named it?
I don't think that we named the god being.
We haven't named it, and we haven't talked about its nature.
Okay, just want to be clear on those because my next thing is kind of touched on that.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of calling a debt, and the one I'm thinking with that is actually since I'm going on this, since I've been called in to help with protecting, what was it? The get names, the spears of Antaeus.
Okay.
That my emissaries would also join in during that, traversal, and have a meeting with the elders of your house. And the thing that I want to do there is, since you have the actual god being with you, and the plague from the condor creature has affected some of our people, I want to seek your leadership to try to resolve this, find a way to remove this influence or give us control of the influence that this god being has over our people. So mechanically speaking, I'm thinking to take a surplus from you if it's possible. And that would be leadership is the one I would be looking for. But obviously you have things that you could do to prevent me from doing that. But that's sort of like my angle, if that's acceptable.
Your choices then, Sherry, are accept, resist by spending a treaty, or if you don't have any treaty on them, rolling a hold together.
I think I'll accept, merely because they need it, and the need comes from their assistance to us. So we would do that out of debt. Does that remove a treaty then from that they have on us? Because
Yeah, they'll spend a treaty.
All
You'll
right.
off surplus leadership, and they will take that.
Right.
Right. So looking at my thing here, so I had 3 on you. I'm down to 2 now.
Yeah.
And did you spend 1 on me? Because I've got you. You've got 2 on me. Is that right?
I spent one on you.
So that's down to 1. And I can, so Lowell, I can remove leadership as a need. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Essentially, they provide you with the expertise and knowledge to help establish that the more centralized command there.
Okay, cool.
Let's come to the crows. What are the crows up to?
I think primarily trying to, just lock down this new settlement they've formed and keep the peace, obviously, in the area and nearby. Sort of really, I mean, I think they're familiar, at least with the area, with all the spies and everything they've sent out previously. But I think now there's a difference between knowing an area and living in an area.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're learning very much what it is to live in this area.
So, do you think you're uncovering secrets, or
Yeah.
or do you just want to narrate something, or do you want to do claim by force somewhere? What do you think?
No, I like uncovering secrets.
Okay. What do you want to roll? How many do you want to spend of your secrets?
I've only got 1, so I'll go ahead and spend that 1.
Okay.
And that is a 4.
That is a 4. So go ahead and ask your question.
Which tab is this on? Sorry.
Oh, that should be under family moves, 3rd column, bottom.
Sorry, I'm on a smaller screen today, so I'm
That's okay.
all these tabs. Okay. Uncover secrets. I want to hit ask. Okay. How do I remove my need for obligation?
How do you remove your need for obligation? I think that you need to spread your influence. So you either need to infiltrate some of the NPC factions, or claim by force some of the NPC factions. Does that seem like a fair thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And I think, in that age, then that is the point at which it is a moment that towards the end of the age, we see the fires burning at Tantus, and the Shirago will see these beautiful silver sails of this war fleet of the elves sailing upriver, apparently burning and pillaging in their path. They are elvish Vikings. And that is the threat that is currently hanging over you right now. Let's take a 5-minute break, and when we'll come back, we'll deal with that particular situation.
Lowell, can you hear me? Yeah, quick question. The harm that Amaranth took, does that come off? Yeah, okay.
Well, with the things that I chose, a lot of them duplicated what I already had, so I did choose different surpluses and needs, but also it like gave me more grass. And I already had grass, but the maximum of 2. Can it go higher?
It can actually, I think, go up to +3.
Okay.
But I didn't do the drop down at +3 because I didn't think things through.
Okay. Thank you. I guess. Okay. And is secrets actually a stat?
Secrets
Or
are
is
a
it-
resource on your family.
Okay.
There.
'Cause you
You only
also
have-
have those limited to 2 as well.
Yeah, there should be more on those.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to break that form. Okay.
Learning our lessons of building the sheets.
Yes.
So I was thinking I wanted to check in with each of the families before we come back and essentially do another round of that. Does that seem fair? Like we can see what they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
So let's come back to you, Spears. What is the next step? What is the next thing that you wish to do?
Well, we've made the pilgrimage safe, that area safe. So we know that at least that time of the year, we won't endanger anyone. And I think that what's happened is because of that, we use the pilgrimage also for our family as a time of counsel and trying to figure out what our next step is with this thing.
Okay.
And so I look at it as they are nomadic, but this might be like, in some ways their winter camp, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think.
So do you want to tell me how that generates a surplus for you of some kind?
Yeah, I think it's a time when we actually get a chunk of because we do have people coming and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Chance for us to sell our stuff, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Have a surplus of barter goods, maybe? Would that be right? Or
Yeah, surplus of barter goods, surplus of trade.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So, yeah, because that's a place where I guess trade. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I assume then what is happening is the Kingdom of Paupers, having been purged of the pretender pauper prince, has those people are coming during the festival time and they are interacting and trading with you. And because they're kind of at the furthest reaches, they've been doing trade sort of to the outlands. You become a bit of a conduit for trade to other places.
All right. Yeah.
What's the most important good that you can provide to the paupers?
We have extensive monster goods. So all the alchemical stuff that's valuable and all of the exotic leathers is a big thing. And I would assume that it's mostly luxury goods or alchemies.
I heard that one of the other factions got sick on this stuff. This isn't like disease ridden, right? This.
And they sort of stop and say, they ate from the ancient. So no, nothing has that power or that venom to it.
No. All right.
All right. We have it in our tea every day and we're fine.
Okay. So that seemed like a fair thing?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it is. Yeah. So
Let's come to the our delightful keepers of the ember. What are they up to?
Twofold. They are one, they're seeking out a medicine to finally cure this bind that their plagued citizens have with the god creature. But they're also turning an eye to the port city that is in flames, as you said, because this is now an opportunity to retake that structure and maybe even bolster its defenses. In doing so, they might be able to seal in those elves. They won't be able to leave the river, and our spies can find out what they really want.
So which do you want to do on this round? Do you want to uncover secrets to fight against this plague, or do you wish to reach out and seize Tantus by force?
Let's do that. Claim by force. It sounds
claim by
fun.
force. Okay. So when a family claims by force, you roll with your grasp.
Yeah, that unfortunately is a low stat for me.
Well, it's a good thing you have some treaty on some other people to get them to help you.
Now, is that something I would have to spend in advance?
No, you can roll then and then call in.
Okay. Let's go ahead and roll then at -1. That's bad. That's a total of a 4.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing that what this does is pushes you up to the 7 to 9. Now, however, you would need to roll. You would be essentially, they would give you fleeting advantage. They would actually have you roll another die, and then you would take the 2 highest of that.
Right. I'd have to spend the treaty for that. I think it makes sense that this is the lawgivers, because they're the ones who originally helped me repel these bandits. I don't know how many years ago, but we still have contact with them. So if that's cool, I'm going to spend that treaty.
So would the lawgivers go and assist, even though this puts them at serious risk?
I think they would probably want to help, yes, because I think that was probably one of the biggest risks of settling where they did, is this port city. So if they can help remove that risk from the board, obviously it opens them up to other risks, but I think they would want to help.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your treaty that you have with the Ember, Keepers of the Ember.
So I'm just rolling plus that treaty?
Yeah. How much do you have?
4.
Oh, so you're in good shape.
Yeah, which is good, because that'll be a 9.
That'll be a 9. So, Ari, they are exposed to the danger if this goes terribly wrong.
Okay.
Because of that 7 to 9.
So they had 4 on me. That gave them the advantage. I had 3. I've marked it down to 2. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to roll 1 additional die?
1 additional die.
And we're treating this as an advantage die. Okay.
Yeah. So then you take the 2 highest.
Okay. Make sure I got the right color here. And let's see if this works. Oh, no. So it remains the same.
Okay. Now, do you want to spend a point of your magic to assist you? That would get you another die.
Yes, I would like to do that.
Essentially, I imagine that you've called in the crows. They've come to assist, but this is the Tantus is burning. The elves have left some people behind. You're fighting against them. Call in your magic.
Yes. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's now a 7 total.
Excellent. So rather than it being just a total disaster,
it's partial disaster.
You will take it, but there is a cost. If you look under claim by force, you need to choose 2 of those.
Okay. 2 of these. Ouch. There's a question. Okay, so let's do commit to security. Let's do the second one. There's a cost your victory, so lol, you get to give me a new need.
Oh yeah.
And are you cool with this, Robert? You heard somebody make sense that while you're helping me, that your personnel may have gotten harmed in some way, and this would give you 2 treaty on me, bumping you up to a pretty magnificent sum.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
So I think that what you will both you, the keepers, and you, the crows, will gain is a new need called need sorcery. Because when you go to face down these elves, these Viking elves, they have magics that break through, destroy your sorcery, tear it apart, and drain whatever magical items or spellcasters you have amongst you. And while you are able to beat them back conventionally, they are very clearly eaters of magic. So you will both gain that need. Does that seem fair? Okay. Patrick, let's come to our masquerade here to the Silver Tongues. What are you up to?
So, just as a layout from the Turning of the Ages, I think the new role I marked for Kanta was agent.
Okay.
When your family commissions you to bring a parable to a community, say who this affects most deeply, and the GM says how it mutates as it's retold. So I think this was like the first year that we did the CONDOR festival outside of our families, and took it to somewhere new. I think we took it to the Keepers of the Ember.
Okay.
We didn't quite realize that they were going through this like no gods, no masters phase. But I do think my stories of, or like the idea of calling a creature a god from the old world, something full of knowledge and mystery, might catch Amaranth's attention in particular. And then GM says how it mutates as it's retold.
I think that what begins to come as a play out of that is the belief that these kaiju, these monsters that come through, that all of them contain gods.
Oh,
Take
that's
that.
Not going to get dangerous.
Take that as you will. That's it's not necessarily the case, but it's what is the story that's told. Does that seem good to you, Ari?
Yeah, that.
You muted.
I was unmuted the whole time, and then I muted myself. So this means that this is just a sort of a fictional detail. I don't need to.
Yeah,
that's
correct.
Cool. So all the Godzillas have like gods in them.
Yes. Hence the name. Yeah. All right. So that does that seem good for you?
Oh yeah.
For that?
And then,
okay. And then your family move.
And for doing my festival there, could I like copy one of his surpluses?
Yeah.
Would that make sense?
Yeah. Tell us how that happens and what is it?
So I think it's alchemy, because as we come in and like do this festival and start trying to do some like special effects and fireworks that we'd worked up, I think the keepers of the ember just sort of hold my beer, and so we pick up some tricks of the trade. Oh, Sherry.
I think the cat knocked something down. I heard
Gotcha.
it. I heard a platter.
Yeah, and our youth are still enamored with your music, so it could be our youthful alchemist that you swipe this off of.
Nice.
They pass you the secret of gunpowder. I like it.
Okay. So
Yeah. So that's essentially the gain a surplus for you on that,
nice.
putting you in a pretty good shape. We will come back to you in just a bit here as we cycle around. Holy cow! That went from 0 to 60 crows. You've got this new city. You've just established it, and suddenly these Viking elves have burnt Tanis. They've been drawn off a bit because some of their forces had to return back to unsuccessfully defend it. And between the crows and the keepers of the ember, that has been retaken. Tantus is essentially, I imagine that the warlords and the bandits have fled out to the countryside at that point. What is that you want to do there, crows?
I think the priority would be defending our new settlement.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, I mean, I don't know if it makes sense because we just did the going to Tantus thing, but I would probably want to try to call in a debt on the keepers to come help defend or maybe attack the ship.
Yeah, we could help you with that, with your claim by force, if that's what you'd like.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this before we kind of come to ask the Keepers of the Ember, is your intent to essentially seize and, defeat those elves, or is it to maintain control of your city in the face of them? This is more about what the fictional consequences might be for the failure.
I think the number one priority is maintaining control of our new settlement.
Okay. In that case, so you're going to spend a treaty on the keepers to ask for their help?
Yeah.
Keepers, do you go and help the crows?
Yeah, I think I do. They've got a lot of influence over me. You've got 5 on me now, right? After you mark that? Okay.
Yeah, after spending 1.
So in that case, you need to roll lend aid there, Ari, which is the treaty that you have with the crows.
Lend aid. Where is that? Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay. So I've got 2 on them. So I just roll +2.
Yeah.
Okay. Get rid of that die. Delete that. There we go. 6. Oh, +2. So that's 8. Yeah.
So you are exposed to the danger, but you do give them fleeting advantage, which means that now the crows may roll with 3d6 plus their grasp.
Okay, my grasp. Ooh, my grasp is 2. So
Yeah, you're in good shape.
how could this possibly fail?
Exactly.
Well, it could fail if I roll 2 2s and a 1. So yeah, that's a 5.
That is a 5. Do you have any magic to spend?
I have no magic.
Then I think what we see is this. Flush from their success at Tantus, the Keepers of the Ember go to assist the crows. and the elves rampage through. They unleash new magics that terrify you because they are the magics related to the fall. Like they are some of those sorceries. They clearly have not learned a lesson, and they clearly have gone back to some of those dangerous things. And they will drive you out of your city and out into the wastelands.
So we've been driven out of Tantus.
I think that Tantus still stands, but the lawful city of Shirago is now in the hands of the elves.
Oh no.
Strongly, and I think both of you need to roll hold together.
Okay, so independently roll hold together.
Yes.
Okay.
What is your mood right now, Ember, the keepers?
Yeah, I'm looking at that. It says minus. Does this calculate it automatically?
No, it does not count automatically. How much?
Okay. Yeah, let me see then. I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's -2.
Yeah.
So I'll update that. It's -2. And I'll go ahead and roll. That's a whopping 2 total.
Okay. So remember we talked about how at the beginning you had, done this thing where you kind of pretended to split and you'd sent those people out
Yep.
to do that. I think that split becomes real.
Okay.
And I think that there are people that are second guessing the decisions that were made. And I think you will lose your spies.
Okay.
That you have in the course of that. And in fact, I think there is a new splinter faction of Ember that you can name and put on the table as a new faction.
Okay.
Does that seem good?
That the new faction that came of the spies.
Yeah, that's actually split off, and they're like, no, they've made a terrible decision. They've gone to war twice against these elves, against superior numbers. We're going to form our own group over here.
Do you need a name for that?
I'll let you come up with a name.
Okay, all right.
Put that on there. We'll check in with you. And now, Robert, let's have the crows roll.
Yeah, and my mood is also at -2 now that we have that need for sorcery. That is a 6.
That is a 6. So let's take a look here. So number 1, I think you're going to lose your surplus piece. And let's think here. What is a good consequence here?
Yeah, what can you really, what more can you do to them?
Well, let me look. Just quickly. I think that you will realize that you need to fall back away from these elves, but you can't afford to just be running out, and in the countryside, and you are going to need to go and seize someone else's place, either a location or a faction's place to give you some place to fall back to, whether that's a landmark like Grief's Echo, or the Tower in the Storms, or Sky Piercer or Xiron, you'll need to find someplace to get shelter and regroup. How does that sound?
Yeah. I was probably thinking maybe that mysterious tower. I think we've probably heard rumors of it, but don't know anything about it. And I don't know that we'd be really welcome anywhere else. And we don't want to go taking stuff by force at this point.
Let me ask you this. We could zoom in if you wanted, and we could zoom in on your character going to explore that place, or we could continue on with the family moves around.
I'm fine with the family moves.
Okay, well, let's continue on with that then. So the situation has changed. I will give you this, Robert. Please name these Viking elves. I have not given them a name. Now that you've met them, you've encountered them. What will we call them?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I will come back to you.
Yeah.
And ask about that. So let's come back to the Spears of Antaeus. Spears, you hear tale of these new sorceress elves who have been moving along the river. They took Tantus, but then Tantus was retaken just barely. But then they went to Shirago and drove out the crows and have seized that as their new location to move up and down the river. But that may not be anything you're worried about. You don't care about them, maybe. Let them go.
Actually, I think that the thing is it's when we hear about their magics and them using the magics of the fall, that it becomes imperative to us to see if this affects that monster, like if that's drawn to them or it stays away from them. Does that make any sense to us, or it's all about that thing? So I think that's what we would be most interested in finding out about.
Okay.
I mean, of course, we have relationships with the people, the refugees, so we would assist them in getting to some safety. So if you wanted to do the storm thing, we could do that. But
do you have secrets?
Oh yes.
Then you could spend secrets to find out and gain info on these elves if you wanted to.
Okay, I would like to do that.
Okay. How many secrets do you want to spend?
We'll spend 2.
All right, let's have you roll.
Okay. The dice have been unkind of late.
They've been the dice today have been,
and they remain, but with +2 I get a 7.
Okay. So you get to ask one question from the Uncover Secrets.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Now I'll say this.
Yes.
If you have magic, you could spend magic to roll an additional die to give yourself advantage.
No.
I'm assuming that's a no.
That was a no. Sorry.
Okay.
So I'm looking for the basic moves. Is that where I'm supposed
It's going to be family moves.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
going to be the bottom of the third column.
Third column. Okay. Uncover secrets. How can we make best use of the elves' magics?
Part of what we've discovered about the fall is we know that the gods, something happened to the gods, right? Was we've got this god in a phylactery. There are rumors about the gods being involved with the kaiju. So I think what you will know is that what the elves are doing is this magic is like an enforced divine magic. Rather than praying to the gods and getting spells, they are actually bleeding the gods. And so right now they're bleeding the last husks of the gods that are up there, that are there in the pantheon.
Interesting.
You know that power is a kind of a divine mana, and you might be able to use that to empower your god, or create a new god, or create a weapon. If you can wrest that from them and turn that magic to a more positive end.
See, you're not thinking like a spear.
Okay.
My question is, can we use that as a beacon to call this manta dragon down on them? I mean, they're pulling down divine magic, and that's what those things go for.
That is an interesting idea. Yeah, I think you could try and do that. It'd be a seize by force to essentially use that to that end. You would roll with grasp.
Okay.
And given that your grasp is a 3,
All right.
there's almost no chance that could fail.
Well, all right. So when I'm seizing by force, what is it that you say I am seizing by force? So
So you could be pushing them out of the city, but actually I think you want to control the resource. So I think you could be using that to take some of that magic for yourself, or you can be using that to drive the elves back. Or something related to that.
Okay. What I want to do is we want to drive those elves into the territory of the manta dragon, so that when they cast from there, that dragon's going to come down on them. So does that make any sense? It's essentially kind of trying to use those two things against each other. Okay.
So you're driving them out of the city and essentially making them putting them at a serious disadvantage.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's have you roll, and I'll have you tell me what that looks like.
Okay. So I have a +3. So that gives me a 7.
Do you want to spend magic?
That gives me an 8. So I will spend 2 magic to make it a 10.
Oh, no. What you do is you get advantage.
Yes. Oh, I get advantage.
You would spend a magic, and you would get advantage, and you could roll an additional d6.
Okay.
And take the 2 highest.
Okay, then I'll do that.
Okay.
So here we go. Oh, and I got to choose the ridiculous color that I have, which was like pink, right? Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to submit. I got a 2, which is enough with my 3. That's 6. It's 9. Damn it. That was terrible. I didn't choose the pip kind. That's the problem. Okay.
Do you want to ask someone to assist, to lend aid?
Sure. I will
spend a treaty to ask them for help.
Yeah. Let's see here. How about the refugees that essentially we need their intel about the city for this to work?
So you're asking the crows?
Yes. I have 3 treaty on them, so.
Crows, would you be willing to do that? They're saying they can drive the elves out.
Yeah, I mean, that would sound good to us, because if the elves get driven out, maybe we could go retake it.
Let's have you roll with treaty with our delightful spears.
That is a 6.
That is a 6. Ouch. So I don't think you even make it there to assist crows. And I think when you go to try and take a new place, you're going to be rolling with disadvantage. So that's a 7 and 9 result for you, Sherry.
Okay. All right.
Now here's what you can do. You do succeed.
All right.
But there are 2 costs from the claim by force.
Okay. And that's under family moves, right?
Yep. Bottom of the first column.
Oh, thank you. Let's see here. Well, I think we did hurt someone. So they take 2 treaty on us. So essentially, I think at that point, we're even with the crow.
Okay.
Does that make an error? They get 2 treaty on us, so they can call on favors for us, right?
Okay. And what's the other choice?
And then I think we need to commit more assets to securing it. So tie one of our surpluses to the resource. And if we lose it, we lose the surplus and vice versa.
Okay. What are you tying to that, to the taking of that city?
It's a fine question. Let's see here. What makes most sense?
I like the background noise of the cat purr.
How about I think that what we would lose the surplus on is weaponry.
Okay. So
because you're pretty much throwing everything at this.
So let me ask you this. What does that look like? Like, what do we see on screen montage of how this monster comes or how you do this? What do we see?
So essentially what it is that we have, okay, so essentially what it is it's for us, it's like any trap laying that we do. We try to get a thing that will draw it. And so essentially them casting magics is that. However, it won't go to a city because it can't camouflage itself. So we have to first drive them out to the plains. This is the hard part for us. And this is where we are paying all of our costs, is essentially to get them out and onto the plains to do that. And then all we want them to do is cast their magics at us. So we are, so once we have managed to get them out there, and I mean, we've used all of the stuff that we have, and it's like, but once we get them out there, we are essentially doing what we do with any big monster. We are harrying them and then disappearing and fading back and coming back in. And we are playing, how do you say, the hunter's game, sniping, running, just to lead them and to keep them casting until this thing comes.
And I think the thing is they don't want to go too far. Like, the ships are clearly important to them, so they don't want to traverse too far. But they get drawn in by your feints, and then this beast arrives, and we see like the elvish armies, like from Lord of the Rings, and then suddenly their bodies flying every which way, in beautiful samite and silver, and then the elves will fight. They've cast their sorcery. They try to cast it again, and that just enrages this thing. And they will fall back to their ships, and essentially they retreat to there because the river seems to at least provide some protection.
Okay.
But the beast is pacing them,
right,
and making it difficult that they can't use their sorcery. Does that seem fair?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Let's come back to the Keepers of the Ember.
Okay. More family move?
Yeah.
Which one of these would earn me treaty?
You need treaty, or do you need surplus?
Well, treaty with, what's it? Just here. With the lawgivers would be good, but surplus would also be good.
So there are a couple of ways you could do that. You could go and claim someplace by force, which is rolled with grasp. You could call in a debt to take a surplus from somebody. You could uncover secrets, try and find out where you want to gain, where you could gain surplus.
Let's do that, because I haven't done that one yet.
Okay. Or you could also tell me how your ceremony, your festival, generates a surplus for you. That's not a rolled move.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. Let me look at my needs, see what I would want to take off this ceremony. Interesting. Maybe sorcery is a need.
Oh,
I could really tap into this. I think what happens is
yes.
so part of our family is split off.
Yes, go
Yeah,
on.
I hear ASMR
Oh,
whispering in the background.
I'm looking forward to hearing how this is going to go. Go on.
So part of our family is split off, but those what are they called? I have to give them a name. The Arcanists of the Sundering, that's what they're called. The ones who lead this ritual have adopted some of their methods, because of just custom, right? That's been part of our family for so long. So this ritual actually ends up not just removing our need from the outer dark, but also creating this sort of addiction to whatever is down in the ash, in the pit there. And the source of this new magic, this sorcery, is coming from below.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Your people have been battered when they go to perform this at the mouth of that. They are suffering, and whatever lives there in that gorge, whatever is coming down from the stars and reaching through there,
It's GM fuel.
They offer you the strength that you require to survive.
Yes.
So you'll remove that need sorcery.
But cost though, lol.
And we'll see what it costs. Let's. I love it. That's a great thing. It was nice make use of the fiction that we've got established there. Let's come to you, Patrick. The Silver Tongues. They've done okay. They haven't been battered by this age like others.
Yeah, everything's been great so far. We threw a party. We told some stories.
You haven't had to deal with those elves.
Haven't had to do anything with those elves, and don't plan to. So
Negotiate with them.
Things may come to that, but not today. They're so far away. How could they ever even impact me?
Exactly. It's not like their ships can fly yet.
No, that'll take at least weeks. So I'm still sort of focused on the mines of Melloc and the artisans opportunity there, but like that sounds like a whole big dangerous underground volcano exploration and potentially like drug mines or some sort of undercover operation or whatever. So I definitely don't want to do that alone.
Do we now? You could do that seize by force and call in people, or we could zoom in.
If so, I was gonna try maybe calling in a debt on the just had their name, Keepers of Ember. Keepers of the Ember, to try and like use that hook into Amaranth's mind of this potential story and spread that out to the family. So I'd like to use a treaty to get y'all to back me up, and then maybe we could go into a zoom in at the volcano. But do you want to resist that at all, Ari?
No, that sounds like fun. I'm not going to resist that.
So you spend a treaty, Patrick, and then how much treaty do you have with them, Ari?
I have 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
roll +5.
there. Yes.
All right. How could this go wrong? 10 +5. That's a 15.
Okay. So yes, they give you the support you need to give you fleeting advantage on this.
Oh, neat. On
whatever move you do now.
Gotcha. Yeah, let's try claim by force. That sounds totally good.
You could try and do it with subterfuge. If you could tell me a way that would work. Maybe you could do conduct diplomacy with the people there They are the threat that you
Ooh.
established. There are a couple of ways we could do this.
Yeah. I like diplomacy. Yeah, we'll try and get in and have a meeting with whoever's in charge, because I don't really know anything about this operation or what's
Okay.
going on there. So I think that's a good step. Reach. Do I have any reach? I have good reach. So, and then advantage from Ari.
Yep.
Nice. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that extra die first. You, yellow, there, and then I'm going to bring it down here and roll all three. That is a 7 plus 2 is 9.
That is a 9. So you give treaty to somebody? Who did you need to have you seal that deal?
I think it's totally fair to give another treaty over to the Ember Keepers.
Okay. And
Appreciate
you
that.
also, yeah, you get a secret,
Nice.
and you will meet with this leader. What kind of person is this? Is it a human, dwarf, elf, old, young? How are we imagining this?
We have those dwarves down to the south that we haven't really brought in, so maybe it's someone from them.
Okay.
Either a splinter group, or maybe those dwarves are secretly drug dealing dicks. We don't know.
So yeah, you will meet with their boss. We'll call them Artala Hammer Must Fall, and she's like, what is it that you want? I mean, we can, if you want to become a dealer for the drugs, we can make arrangements and things like that. Is that what you desire here? Why you would come down to the mines of Melloc?
I worry for the souls of those on the surface. I realize you have safety and comfort down here, but the people of the land above, their comfort, their minds, their spiritual state is some of my affair, and I fear that beauty is fading from this world. That we need people that can bring these sort of things out. And I'd heard
But our
rumors
concoction,
that you had some talented people here.
our concoctions remove the need for beauty and art and all of those things. Well, there's no need to worry about that. Beauty,
Which
vanishes
is
from
the
world.
perfect solution to living in these sort of environments.
Uh-huh.
But we on the surface, we're not so lucky. We need different things. I don't think your concoctions can cover all of those needs.
And you want what precisely?
I don't know, those painters you have chained up in the back. The people. There's talent and rumors of people that have gone missing on the surface. Just like help finding them. A search and rescue operation here in the underground tunnels, where you might know much more easily where they're hiding than, say, if I tried to find these poor lost souls.
So what you ask me is to go against our own interests. We are iconoclasts. We believe that the depiction of things is the destruction of things. But I will tell you what. I will give you those painters and singers and so on. I will give them to you. But I will come to you someday and ask your family a favor, and you will give it to me.
I mean, that only seems fair. The spirit of open-minded cooperation, building bridges between our people and a relationship that can grow over time.
If we consider that the bridges are one way, then yes.
At a time, perhaps, but surely we can eventually work towards a mutual. Please keep trying to sweet talk these people that do not care about him.
They will demand 2 treaty on you.
Oof.
And you can write them in as iconoclast dwarves.
Just jerks.
I will take that because, I mean, what could they really ask for? It can't be that painful.
We'll find out. All right. So yeah, you they send you these chained, bedraggled artisans, and it will, when they get into the light, they do that. It's going to take some time to get them to recover, but yes, they will give them to you.
Nice.
Let's come back to the crows. Not been a good age for the crows. How do you want to turn this around?
Well, I think they probably need to find a new someplace to go.
Do they want to go to that tower?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you want to uncover secrets first, or are we just moving in to claim that place?
Well, I don't. Let's see. I could uncover secrets.
You've got a good grasp,
Yeah,
so maybe you could just
try. Yeah, I think I'll just use the grasp and
okay.
try to go in there.
Then you will go take the raiders of your crows, and you fall back. Your city has been kind of burnt and damaged. You need to find a new place. Let's have you roll with grasp.
And am I rolling with disadvantage, you said?
Yes, you are.
So disadvantage is what? Remove the highest?
2 lowest.
Oh, remove 2 lowest. So that is a 6.
Your grasp is 2. Now, I know you don't have any magic, so you can't spend that to give yourself advantage, but you could ask for help, in which case we would negate that disadvantage, and you would take the 2 highest.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I think we could ask for help from the spears.
So you would spend a treaty on the spears, and the spears they come to you for your assistance in storming this storm citadel. You muted?
Sorry, there's a cat in front of my monitor. So, okay. So, yes, that sounds great. That's interesting. We haven't messed around with that, so I'm sure there'll be people who would be curious to see what's in there. So
let's have you roll with your treaty with the crows then.
Okay, so it's the amount I have with them or that they have on me?
That you have with them.
Okay, so that's 2. Let's see here. So that gets a 7.
That is a 7. So you will give them fleeting advantage. What will that take you to if you have to take the 2 highest from that roll, Robert?
Takes me to a 10.
Takes you to a 10. Look at that. That means you only have to choose 1 consequence. And why don't you tell me, let's I want to know, when you go to this tower, what is the tower like? What is it that we find there?
I think the top of it, like there's a huge, like it's almost like acting as a lightning rod. Like there's constantly lightning hitting the top of this tower. And it's probably very, very foreboding looking as it acts as like a lightning rod in the middle of this perpetual storm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there is, it's even like fortified, like there's a wall around it. And I think the crows get there and there is a gate to it that is closed. And as we show up, the gate just opens. Almost like it's just welcoming us in. So yeah, I think we head in and are just sort of exploring around, and I think we find it uninhabited, but there are certain things about it that are almost acting on their own.
So what is it that you're going to choose as your result? Hurt somebody, cost to your victory, need to commit more assets.
I am going to, yeah, I'm going to take the hurt somebody.
So is that 2 more treaty you're going to owe?
Yeah, and you say who it is, I guess.
Well, it does seem to me that it would be the Spears.
Yeah.
Spears, what happens to you in your assisting of this process?
I think that what happens is when we get to the tower, we can't enter. And there's all the lightning strikes going along. And essentially what it is that we have to retreat, but it is like we are chased out by the lightning and we lose in a number of people just to this lightning that is sort of chasing us out of the storm.
Like the first people that entered, it seems to have keyed to them and it drives you back. So Robert, I think that you will remove your need for defenses. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Also, you asked me for a name for the elves.
Yes.
Doriel, whose crown branches outward.
Ooh, okay.
Or at least that's what they call themselves.
That's what they call themselves. Well, I'll let you put that in the map notes. We're still on family moves. I think we're probably gonna continue out family moves. Given the length of the session that we have left, we'll try and do maybe 1 or 2 Zooms next time. We'll see. What is the next thing that your family wishes to do, Sherry?
Oh God, we got this stupid city, don't we? This is annoying.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing we do is we don't want this thing. So we look around for someone who will take it off our hands. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Who are you offering this city up to?
Is it who are the keepers like kind of chased out of their place, or do they have Tantus? Like I was lost there. I thought they
still have Tantus.
They lost it. Okay. Oh, you know who doesn't? The paupers.
Oh, you want to offer it to the trade people, huh?
Yeah.
Let's have you conduct diplomacy.
All right. What do you use to conduct diplomacy?
Reach.
I think I've got some of that.
Or you could do subterfuge, which is also slight.
Oh, no.
Where you go, hey, this city looks pretty sweet.
I can't use grasp?
No.
Okay. All right. So, I spent one of my magic, so I gotta. Okay, sure. And I'll use magic as a sweetener on it, maybe.
Okay.
So I can roll with advantage?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Of course, I can wait to do that only if I need to, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to get them to take this because we don't know what to do with the city. That's not what we do. Okay, so I rolled an 8.
Okay.
Pretty good.
So the on a hit you get you wanted and you get a secret.
Okay.
But you had to have a third party help you, so you give a third party a treaty.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Let me see here. I think that,
Could be a PC faction, NPC faction.
yeah. Uh, well, probably then the paupers, right?
Sure.
Okay.
That's good.
We're very much just like take it. You'll take it, right?
And the way that works with an NPC faction is certainly that's a move that I would make.
Exactly. I understand that.
Okay.
Okay. But what do we get? We get a surplus? Or what do we get?
I think that you will. What is it that you get a secret? What is it that how is it that you sell the paupers on this city? They've done some trade with you.
You're right. So essentially, that they need a base to set their stuff up on, that the river, once we've cleared it, will be theirs. In the meantime, it's a well-defended city, at least facing the river for the time being. And yeah,
So let me get this straight.
also it's super clear that we like have no idea what we're doing there. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, certainly none of us died from wearing the clothes that you sold us, so we're happy with that.
You can trust us.
But if what I'm hearing is that there are a bunch of supernatural god elves who also want this city, is that true?
And sort of stops and goes, oh, we made it very uncomfortable for them. If they come back, that would be foolish because we'll do it again.
So how did you make them uncomfortable?
Points to all of the stuff in the city, the trebuchets and the other things that they've used, that sort of thing, weapons, death.
Okay. So you don't tell them about the fact it was that you summoned a monster to drive them out.
Well, no.
Okay.
I mean, they should know that's what we do when we, it's always a luring thing.
Yes. So you may rename that city as a new settlement for the paupers.
Okay. Let's see here. That's awesome. I'm going to. I have to do it right now, huh?
Yeah, but I'll come back to you. But you will rename. Essentially, they will move. They've done very well in this age. They will send caravans. They'll set up new mercantile outposts there in the ruins of that city, and they will make themselves indispensable for the rest of you.
Okay. And I think it'll be named, because they like that whole pauper theme, that they probably call it destitution.
I like it. That does not mean what I think you think it means.
Exactly.
All right. Let's come back to the Keepers of the Ember. Oh, you took care of that sorcery. No problem. No consequences. What is
None whatsoever? None whatsoever. So we've got this faction, the Scion of Dagon, that left after this disagreement.
Absolutely.
And we had our as a culture, we had this strong connection through them with the outer dark, which we've now broken. And the Arcanists of the Sundering down south at the mouth of Ash are now flush with this sorcerer's power. And we have this medicinal need. So when they come back with the news to Tantus, our rebellious youth who have now begun spraying graffiti on Dagon's Divide, and our people are like moving away from that past. We remember that there is something there that at the center of Dagon's Divide that gave us power. And seeking this medicine, we go and desecrate the tomb of this alien creature that's at the center of Dagon's Divide. And we're going to use the basically grind the remains of this creature into powder and use this as a medicine for curing our plague.
Excellent. What is it? Is this a seize by force then, you think?
If that's interesting, I was just going to do finding a surplus, but if you want to make this like a little bit more intricate, it sounds like that would be an interesting
Yeah,
approach.
because you've already kind of got a surplus from your ceremony thing. So for the other ones, you kind of need to do something. You could
Sure.
uncover secrets
Okay,
to learn how you would get that surplus.
that might be cool. Let's do that. Data is magic, right?
Data. So data is secrets. Tech is magic.
Right. Okay. Let me look at that character, see what I got. I don't have any secrets, so I would just roll a flat roll for that.
Okay.
Let's see what I get. 5. Not very impressive at all. I used pip dice too. Didn't help.
So you could either ask someone to aid, or you could take that 5 and I'll tell you how to get that surplus.
I'm going to ask for aid, and I think the people to ask for this one is the Silver Tongues, because our youth are kind of doing this. They've been spraying graffiti. They've been breaking these, trying to, well, actually, yeah. So the youth who've been following your music are the ones that come and appeal to you for help here to uncover these secrets.
I think the Ember Keepers have been very helpful and useful recently, and especially if any of them like drop Amaranth's name, I think that'll get them straight through.
Okay, cool.
So Ari, you mark off a treaty, and Patrick, you roll with your treaty with them.
Treaty. So I'm down to 5.
I have 2 on you.
Now you've got. Well, I thought you had 3. You lost one. Okay.
Yeah, I spent 1 earlier to get you to back me up.
Okay. I'll take it. Better than nothing.
8 plus 2
Yeah.
is 10.
10 and so there's no consequence because it's just uncovering secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your question there from the uncover secrets, Ari?
Okay, one question. Is that right?
Yep, one question.
How do I remove need medicine? Is it
I think it is that you will have to level Dagon's divide. Like you need to break it, destroy that spot, destroy that area to get the magics that you need to remove that.
okay?
Are you willing to do that?
Yes, our
Okay.
people are anyway.
Yeah. So you will desecrate and destroy this holy site.
Oof. Do we need to change the map or leave it as is?
You can you mark it how you would do for
A desecrated version of it.
desecrated version of it.
Okay.
Whether that's a strike through or something else, but essentially you do that, and if the gods come back,
I'm not going to be happy. But I do remove this need.
yeah.
Okay, great.
What is it that we see? What is it that happens? Is it a purely alchemical thing that you get from that, or is it some other magical thing? What do you think?
It's mostly alchemical. You know what? I thought it was just alchemical, but it's beyond my knowledge that there is a magical effect as well.
Oh yeah.
This may incur the wrath of the beings from
And
beyond.
I'm sure part of what helped you figure this out was the voice from the mouth of Ash told you
Yeah.
how to desecrate properly.
Nobody questions the voice, so yeah, it goes without saying.
Let's come back to you, Patrick. You've gotten these artisans.
Yep. So several things. First, getting the artisans sent me into flush with resources.
Ooh, okay.
So I chose to invest in better equipment, get another gear option. So I added a travel option to my gear, which is palanquins drawn by giants, land mighty. So I think they're sort of like somewhere between like a water buffalo and a gorilla.
Okay.
They're like pack beasts, but they have longer forelimbs, and they're sort of like shaggy fur and horns. But it takes like just one of these giant things to pull a like 6-wheeled caravan cart behind them, sort of thing.
They drawn by the music and the art. Is that what kind of keeps them in?
Nice. Yeah. I think there's like a instead of a driver, there's a piper up front, and they're trained to different tunes. Like they have like 3 or 4 different tunes they can train to. It's not complicated, but there's a couple of little commands they can give that way.
Nice. And so what you are flush with resources. So what are you doing or working on?
So yeah, that makes me sort of worried because I don't want to keep losing resources. So I had to mark off culture for that one.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 things here. One, I would like to follow up on the secrets I got from the diplomacy to try and figure out more about the mines there, but also
Sure.
I do want to invest some of those resources into the Nest Wonder, and I was wondering how involved you wanted to get with that.
Well, so when we build a wonder, essentially, let's look here for full wheels. Let's see, chapter 2 here. I just want to check it because there's a mechanic we haven't seen for a bit, so I want to find that. Expendable resources, data, power up. So when your family has a surplus that matches the requirement, you can immediately invest it. You erase the surplus, mark off that requirement, and describe what your family does. You can build a wonder slowly over ages or in a frenzy of activities. And then others who have treaty on you can get benefits from this. So do you want to invest 1, 2, 3?
Let's see. I do have 3 at the moment, but that'll take me down to 0. I think I want to invest 2 at the moment.
What 2 things are you investing in getting this home for the gods, home for a god? What this new nest here?
So yeah, I think what this is at the moment is I've got those artisans freed.
It's a little birdhouse for your souls.
Oh, that is okay. I'm gonna have that in my head all week. But I do think cleaning it up and getting it prepared and ready is the first big step. Like
Okay.
this was a tower from before the fall, and then all these like mutant condors lived in it, and it's just all sorts of torn apart and messed up and disgusting in places. I think there was all the corpses and grisly bits that we described all the way up it. It's been almost 10 years, but it's still a mess in there. So I think I'm going to spend artisans and luxury to get them started up on making this place look like a nest where a god would want to alight.
And you're halfway there. You are halfway to that. And you will get that set. Do you have a move you want to do? Do you want to try and ask somebody else for a surplus? Do you want to do uncover secrets? What would you like?
I would like to do uncover secrets, actually.
Okay.
That is not what I wanted to do. I'll come back to that. Whatever.
So how many secrets do you want to spend?
I think I've only got the 1. I do. And I just picked it up from the diplomacy in the mines.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to point it towards that. And I want to know what's the truth behind Melloc, this drug that they're mining and spreading.
Okay.
So that's plus secret spent.
Yep.
It's +1. First two. God. 6 + 1 is 7.
Oh, so you get that answer. I think that when the heavens fell, gods went in various different ways. Some of them tried to hide to protect themselves, and essentially, there are a pair of gods entwined, lovers that fled into the underworld, and Melok is made from their bones that they're mining. Essentially, it's sort of powdered despair of these gods.
Grinding their bones to make their bread or nose candy or whatever.
Yeah. Does that seem like a fair answer?
That doesn't seem fair at all, but it does seem very in fitting with what we've been doing and pretty cool.
Let's come back to the crows who now are in this lightning tower.
I want to uncover secrets, but I don't have any secrets to spend.
Well, one of the ways you can get secrets is you can conduct diplomacy. That's with reach.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go and conduct diplomacy.
Who will you go talk to? The elves?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Paupers who now have your city?
Also, yeah, I was going to say, I like the idea of the crows just sitting up in their tower, watching, as the paupers go right by. We're like kids that are grounded, watching all the other kids play outside as they try to take over our old city. Yeah, I'm going to conduct diplomacy with the elves.
Okay.
They sound like a nice bunch to talk to.
Then it usually says when you call in your family allies, but I like the idea that you can, especially since they're on their back heels from this. Let's have you roll with reach.
That is a 9.
Okay. So on a hit, you get what you wanted and one secret, but somebody had to help you seal that deal, and you give a treaty to them.
Well, I think the spears are the only ones. Well, wait, no, the spears aren't friends with the elves. Is anybody kind of friendly with the elves?
The paupers are probably actually up there trying to make deals with the elves.
Yeah, so I guess it would be them. I think they would be the ones that would help.
What is it that you want? Do you want to meet their VIPs? Do you want access to something? Do you want information on an opportunity or threat?
I think I would want access. I'm trying to get rid of this need for sorcery. So I think I would be trying to figure out, trying to get access of some kind to their magic.
They will say, we will teach you something of these arts, the art of bleeding the gods. But we will need your help soon.
I think that's fair.
And that help is going to be taking care of that beast that stalks us from the shoreline.
Well, once we have a little bit of magic, a beast should be easy to take care of.
All right, then. We will show you how to repair your sorcery, how to repair what has been done to you, and show you some of those arts.
That sounds like a deal.
Give them 2 treaty and mark off your need sorcery.
So it's 2 treaty to the elves?
To the many-branched elves.
Okay.
shall we do one more once around for family moves, or shall we stop it there? What do you think?
Go another round.
Okay. Then let's do one more once around. You've made some progress here. You probably don't know yet about the crows making that deal with the elves there, but you have got the paupers in place. What are you up to, Spears?
For us, because the beast is tracking the Vikings, this is a time when we can take a breather, and gather some resources. So what are my options for gathering resources?
If you already know about a place you can get it from, you can do that. Or uncovering secrets is a way to learn about resources.
Okay.
Or you could call in a debt on someone.
Oh, that's true.
Spend a treaty to take a surplus from them.
See, but that kind of, let's see here. So I don't know. I do like the idea of seeking out the secrets, though. The thing that I'm curious about is the compromise of manners, which are these other elves, because they must know those magics of the Vikings.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to go conduct diplomacy with them?
Yes.
That is with reach.
It's not my strongest, but I can try it. Yes, I will attempt this. Because no one's talked to them.
No. So you send your people there.
Yes.
Try and into those woods, those that dark land that has been as yet unexplored through that misty ring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's have you roll reach.
So that gives me a 9.
Okay.
Again, I got a sort of
7 to 9. All that means is that you have to give somebody a treaty to let that happen.
All right. Let's see here. Well, I think it is interesting. I would give it to the compromise of manners, I suppose.
I like that.
Okay. So.
Gives me more leverage for later.
Oh, I know. Okay.
And you will go to meet with the compromise of manners. And your people have fought these elves, these Viking elves that are on these boats. They look like big classic elves. The thing that will strike you about the compromise of manners is that all of them look like children.
Really?
Like they look like elvish kids, and you will find out that the elvish like childhood lasts a couple hundred years. And so these are very young elves. What is it that you want from them?
I think I want to know the state of their magic. Like, are they doing that divine stuff, or do they not have any, or what's going on there?
They have essentially a couple of god orchards where they have planted gods, 2 of them, and have been growing the forest around them to help revive them. This is a way of keeping them out of the range of those magics that can drain them.
Okay. All right then. That's
and you,
pretty
and you
cool.
get a secret too, by the way. That seem like fair info?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay.
Okay. So they've got a couple there, and you will get a secrets from having interacted with them.
Okay.
Let's come back to the Keepers of the Ember.
Yeah, for my final round, I think I'm going to go with subterfuge.
Ooh,
I want to infiltrate the Elvish faction.
which one?
Okay, good question. Which one is under siege from this monster, this creature that's hunting them?
The Viking elves.
Yeah, that's the one I want. And what I'm trying to do is, well, should I just roll first? Or should I tell you what I'm trying to
Roll
do?
with your sleight.
Okay. Sleight is got 2 in sleight.
Oh, you're actually quite good at this.
Yeah, should have been doing this earlier. 5, 7.
7. So tell me what it is you want.
I want cause a scandal within their faction that brings some of their. So I sent some people in to plant the seed that my faction, the Keepers, have the power to help them to remove this threat, this beast.
Mm-hmm.
And the scandal is that some of them are going to become friendly towards us and be willing to work with us to achieve those ends. In exchange, I want their secrets of sorcery.
So there you create a split amongst them. Essentially, you will create a division on it. Let's see. But I think that the let's see. It doesn't make sense that I think that the crows will pick up on what you're doing. Does that seem like a fair cost on the 7 to 9?
Sure.
How about for you, crows? Does that seem good? The elves are divided. It looks like that kind of give you some advantage for diplomacy and give you an opening there. Does that seem good?
Yeah, that's what I'm working for.
Okay. Patrick.
I think I want to share my plans for the nest with the spears.
Okay.
In the way of one of the thingies on it, too many tabs. One of the requirements on it is defenses or safety, which no one has at the moment, and
Right.
I could go out and try and find it, but I think spears would be better for that sort of thing. They seem more on board with the idea of these gods and promoting them than the Ember Keepers do overall. And so I think I'm going to share the story of what I found out about what's going on down in the mines of Melok. The story of those two like entwined god corpses or sleeping bodies or whatever that they're grinding down, they're destroying, that there are these forces out there in the world that are trying to tear down and suck up the last bit of powers from the gods. But I think the spears would understand me and want to try and bring at least one god back. But that's just my read.
So that seems like conduct diplomacy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is what you're trying to do. You're going and talking to them. It'll get you a secrets.
Nice. So I don't know. I guess meeting with their VIPs
Okay, let's have your roll.
to be able to like talk to their leadership and lay out this idea. Yeah. Reach. Is my good? It is my good one. It's first two. No, you select it. It's even closer. 5 plus 2 is 7.
So you need to get help from a third party to seal that deal. Say which your allies helped you get to that, and give them a treaty.
So my suggestion is that we would point you back to the compromise of manners who know how to keep the gods safe with their orchard idea.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. I can give them a treaty.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's no good saving a god if you can't, keep the god safe and grow it and nurture it, right?
So you will get a reach, and you will tell this story. What do you think is the reaction when Amaranth comes to? Kanta Silvertongue comes to tell you about this.
I think initially they're confused by it because they're hunters and they're always confused when someone comes and asks them to do a thing that a hunter doesn't do. But they understand the brotherhood of protecting the gods and that sort of thing. So their thing is very much kind of trying to help them find a solution, but they're also like immediately the sort of questions go back to the council of how can we steal a resource from deep underground? What do we know of the lore of that sort of thing? So it's sort of going back and trying to look at how could we do that, because that's how they treat things. So they're like thinking about devices and magics and things that would get them down there and back up.
Okay.
So is that helpful?
Does that seem good, Patrick?
Yeah. And let's see. I have plenty. I'll go ahead and spend a treaty on you too, just to point that towards. I'd like to ensure that going forward, you're going to look for either that safety or defense to help me with the wonder. And I think investigating Melek and finding a way to like free and defend that god is a great way to find that. That sounds interesting.
That's great. And you'll agree to the backup then, Sherry?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Let's come back to the crows.
I think the crows also want to do subterfuge. I think they want to infiltrate the paupers.
Okay.
In their our old city.
Absolutely.
So I will go ahead and just roll that plus slight. So that's 12.
That is a 12. So what is it that you want to do to them?
So I want to turn their attention elsewhere because I think we're happy with our new tower that we have going on, but we're still a little bit salty about them taking our city. I mean, we came up with this whole elaborate celebration, our own little Independence Day for our new city, and they took it from us, or it was taken and then given to them. So I want to turn their attention elsewhere by making a resource appear more desirable. Like I basically want to spread the word throughout their new settlement about Melek. And I think the lawgivers, we used to, we used to kind of keep the law in the Kingdom of Paupers, and we kept people off of Melek. Now that we're gone, I think they're suddenly starting to hear about it a little bit more, and so we infiltrate and basically really spread the word about Melek.
You should go up there and take control of that supply. So essentially you're creating a gang war between, okay. Absolutely. They will buy into that. We will see them begin to move. And you got a 12 plus. I think we do see that. I think we probably see the paupers hiring mercenaries, and within a short span, they hire the Doran dwarves, or are there other parts and other things, and they will send their people in to raid the mines of Melloc and seize control of it. Does that seem good?
I like it. We
Okay.
almost need like a relationship map between all of the different factions at this point.
I know. That's where we're going to stop, but I would like to take a bit to do. Yes, Sherry? Just something you wanted?
Wait, so you talked to Ari? Did he have a family turn?
I had a turn. I'm good.
Oh, good. I'm sorry.
I was after you.
Yeah.
My head was still full of all my stuff, so I missed it.
So we're going to stop there. I would like to do a quick stars and wishes, if you don't mind. If we could take a couple minutes to do that. Stars being things that you liked about play, about other people's characters, things, anything like that you want to point to about that. And then wishes, things you definitely want to see more of, or like to lean into, or want it a different way, that kind of thing. So we'll stick with that same order. Sherry, let's start with you. Do you want to do stars or wishes first?
I think, how about wishes first?
Okay.
And then finish up with
Yeah.
stars?
Let's do wishes first.
Wishes. The only regret I have from this thing is I would have liked to have done the march to the Citadel just for a little bit more color as individuals. But that's just me being selfish, as I kind of wanted to see what that was like. I loved doing all the family stuff, so I don't want to trade out any of that. But, if I could have put a time, found some time and inserted it into the thing, that would have been what I would have liked to do.
Okay. No, I think that's fair, because the zoom there, it would have been interesting. It is a hard choice. I think it's a difficult choice on what you want to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Anything else you want to mention, wishes?
No, I was pretty happy. So,
Okay. Ari, wishes from you?
I wish I had a better memory because there's a lot going on. But yeah, I mean, there were some pretty monumental things happening here over this span of time. I think I kind of share Sherry's sentiment there, as far as being able to drill in on some of these things would have been pretty fun. And I think the only solution for that would have been having more sessions, really. There's really nothing else you could do. But yeah, there's some just really cool, epic things going on in everybody's faction and family. Yeah,
the more sessions seems to be the common thing.
And you're going to remedy that. You've got plans.
Yes.
It's great.
Patrick, wishes?
So my wishes for next time in particular, I spent last session really buddying up with the Spears and trying to make a relationship there. I spent this session intentionally trying to work with the Ember Keepers and figure out what our sort of like collaboration there is. But the Crows and the Silver Tongues have sort of been circling each other this whole time, so I'd really like to focus in and interact with Robert and the Crows next time and see if our relationship is really as antagonistic as it seems, or see if something else comes out of that.
I like that. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Robert, wishes?
Yeah, I mean, kind of echoing what Sherry said about, I do kind of wish I had zoomed in when we went to the tower. But then, like, I was also worried that sometimes, if we zoom in, like, that would be the rest of the session, which not necessarily would be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was interested in seeing some more of the family stuff. So it's a give and take between, can you zoom in and not have that be the whole session, and zoom in and zoom out all in one session. I don't know if that's doable or if that's just how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we had in the previous one we had some quicker ones. Um, but it is a thing where when you get into it, it depends on how deep it gets. It can't expand to fill the space it's allotted.
Yeah,
Good
and
point.
then also I kind of wish I had remembered. I need to pay more attention to my family move of laying down the law because it does give me some rolling with advantage and rolling with disadvantage on certain
Oh
things
yeah,
that I might have been able to use, but the way I was rolling, I don't know if it mattered.
yeah. Well, the die roller was unkind. Your own personal dice there were unkind. It was
Yeah,
bad. Sherry Stars.
So one, you guys are all super interesting players. And I was like, oh, family moves are going to be so boring. It's just pick an option and blah, blah, blah. No, no, no. This was a super awesome web with all kinds of good ideas and neat things going on, and sort of rolling with the failures and picking out hard prices. It was really, um, it, can you have a soap opera at that level? No, but you can have that sort of, oh no, and it's even worse. Oh my gosh, that sort of thing. It was really good to watch. And I was surprised at how much I enjoyed what I thought might be super dry.
I think that's a really good point. I'm glad you dug that. Anything else you want to say, wishes wise?
Stars wise, I thought,
Stars wise.
yeah, stars wise. Gosh, there were so many good things. But I think the game itself is revealing a lot of layers to it that I'm really digging. Things that I didn't see until we got into play. So kudos to Jay.
Awesome. Ari, stars?
I'm just going to focus on one thing. So the elves were really my favorite part, and how everyone interacted with them. First, with you, Lowell, bringing them in, as like burning down the city and raiding, and then it kind of spiraled out from there. Everybody found a way to latch on to that, and we were not selfish about it. It was very collaborative in the way that we used that faction, and added to the map and altered it. I also like the dwarven matriarch interaction, the salty dwarven matriarch. That was pretty funny. Very well played. But yeah, everybody just made really good use of all the elements on this map, and it's the only thing I would say is I think Robert mentioned this earlier, is a relationship map would be cool. It'd be too much work for you though, because you've got so much stuff already that you're dealing with.
So much stuff there.
Yeah, we've got that. We've got that Google Doc that Robert did. I'm kind of referring to that. That's been helping me a lot.
Yeah.
Keeping track. But yeah, those elves just were working really nicely into everything.
Nice. Glad that worked. Patrick, stars?
I'll agree with Ari. The elves' storylines were really good this time, especially the invading Viking elves. They genuinely felt dangerous, and it kept being like, oh, okay, we'll deal with them in a moment. They took over where now? And it was just that before I could form a plan about how to react to them or think about them, they had moved on to yet another target or revealed yet another danger or something like that. They felt threatening in a really neat way. I loved being able to watch everybody's plans sort of lay out, and the unexpected directions of like, oh shit, you're working with them now, or like, oh, that's not where okay, you're going over there. Let's do a thing. All right, fine. And so it was both fun to watch and interesting to like try and play off of. And then Lowell as well, the whole like God killer, God eating, God bleeding storylines that all sort of crashed into each other at once in this session was really cool. Gave like a nice focus on the world of like, oh, I understand a little bit more about how this world's working. I feel like I understand a lot more about the fall. So I'm curious to dig into some questions of that in our last two sessions. But it gave a nice focus and congruency to all the weird aspects of the game so far. I like it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with that some more. Robert, I'm going to give you the last word.
Yeah, echoing again what everyone said, stars definitely to those elves. Like I threw that ship out there. I was just like, whatever, you know, that'll come up eventually, maybe. And then like within the first roll, it was like, oh, by the way, there's elves and they mean business. And then also I wanted to say stars to Ari for the whole thing with like, you know, tearing down Dagon's Divide and grinding up, you know, ancient corpses, and all of that stuff is very spot on.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to stop the recording here. Stop the live stream.